Zoos can be great in a ton of ways. They give humans a chance to gawk at exotic earthly creatures in ways that would never be possible. And they give children a chance to learn and become engaged with the beautiful animals that tread this planet. But beyond the veneer of happy families, overpriced food, and stuffed animal replicates, there's a stark reality about how zoos really operate and how miserable animals really are in captivity. Many times, zoo animals are overweight and have serious health problems as a result. According to a study by the University of Bristol, only 16% of elephants at UK zoos could walk normally because of how overweight they are. These majestic creatures have personalities, emotions, and connections that need to be nurtured. So it's no wonder the majority of them show signs of obvious developmental and behavioral problems in captivity. This week, we found out that SeaWorld keeps its orca whales on valium and Xanax-like drugs in order to quell their aggressive behavior that undoubtedly results from living in a bathtub. The scrutiny against SeaWorld for drugging its whales comes on the heels of a scathing documentary called Blackfish, which explores why orcas have killed trainers at parks in the past.
The speedboat herded them in, and they could just pick out the young ones.
This is the worst thing that I've ever done.
When Tillicum arrived at SeaWorld, he was twice as large as the next animal.
We stored these whales in what we call a module, which was 20 feet across and 30 feet deep, and the lights were all turned out.
Probably led to what I think is a psychosis.
What's even more shocking is that this behavior is completely unique to orcas in captivity. The founder of the Orca Research Trust, Ingrid Visser, said that the violence is the result of stress, not native aggression. According to BuzzFeed, they show stereotypical behaviors that are abnormal, repetitive behaviors like head bobbing, chewing on concrete, self-mutilation by banging the sides of their heads on the side of the tank. And there isn't a single orca living in captivity where you cannot see one of those behaviors, and in many of them, you see multiple examples of them. Mental disorders span across almost every single intelligent animal confined to small spaces. Back to elephants, these creatures are so intelligent they mourn their own dead. But 40% of them in captivity display depressive behavior not mimicked by their wild counterparts, including mating habits. According to Psychology Today, for every elephant born in a U.S. zoo, on average, 2 others die. A Seattle Times analysis has found. Under current conditions, with just 288 elephants inside 78 accredited U.S. zoos, they could be demographically extinct within 50 years. The premature and disproportionate death rates of animals like lions and elephants is depressing enough, especially with these species on the decline worldwide. But what's even more disturbing is when zoos actually kill perfectly healthy animals, which they call surplus culling. Denmark's Copenhagen Zoo made headlines recently when it decided to slaughter a perfectly healthy giraffe named Marius and proceeded to feed its remains to lions in front of a gaping audience. This happened despite a campaign of people pleading to stop the zoo, along with offers from other zoos to take him in, and even private donors offering to pay up to $680,000 to save little Marius. The zoo stood by its decision, however, stating that the giraffe already had dominant genes among its giraffe population, and according to inbreeding laws in Denmark, it was the only right thing to do. As bizarre as it seems to murder adult creatures like Marius by the same organizations you think would be working to protect them, the practice of culling is extremely common. A captive animals protection society study, found that as many as 200,000 animals in European zoos are considered surplus at any given time, and that in some instances, zoos are actually encouraged to cull its animals for a variety of reasons. In fact, the very same Denmark zoo decided to kill 4 healthy African lions, aged 16, 14, and 2 cubs to make way for a new lion. In an online statement, the zoo wrote that it needed to kill these lions because it couldn't risk inbreeding within the lion pride. And even though zoos claim to promote conservation, they exist to ensure continuous captive population and are not nearly focused enough on wild reintroduction for the animals they keep. Furthermore, promoting the culling of exotic creatures and feeding them to one another in the name of preservation is not only an insanely warped concept, it's unnatural. So, even though zoos do serve an important function in breeding endangered species and educating future generations about wildlife, let's not kid ourselves about the horrific quality of these animals' lives.